Welcome to week 3 of this fantasy football season. Hopefully you outlasted and survived week 2, which was a debacle from every aspect, from NFL players to fantasy football fans. Hopefully you were not one of those people that lost to Noshawn Moreno, Ryan Matthews, AJ Green, Jamal Charles, just to name a few, Jordan Reed, tons of guys out, Jordan Cameron. So week 3 here, hopefully better sunny and brighter skies ahead. I'm Dennis Farrell. You can follow me on Twitter at Dennis77Farrell for any last-second fantasy football questions. Some news and notes to get to. Like I said a few seconds ago, Jamal Charles, all signs are pointing to him not playing this week. Niles Davis is the guy you probably want to play and start. It's a very safe play this week. One of the most common questions I've gotten on email and through Twitter was, I've been offered a trade for Niles Davis. Probably take it. When Jamal Charles comes back, he will cut into Davis's production, of course, because Jamal Charles is one of the first overall draft picks of fantasy football. But Davis's true value for you right now is flipping him. Don't be afraid to trade him. That's where his great fantasy football value lies right now. Wes Welker, he's beat the 4-game ban. He's coming back this week and playing. I think he'll be limited on the pitch count due to the fact he's not practiced with the team for the last couple weeks. He may be kind of a flex play at best. I would try to avoid playing him until he gets another game under his belt, and you kind of see how he's feeling after the concussion. Finally, Ben Tate, he's going to come back about week 5. Terrence West is the guy you still want to play, and I would also hang on to him. And Cincinnati Bengals offensive coordinator came out and said Hill and Giovanni Bernard are going to be a tandem, which means Hill is officially a safe flex play for me. Here's a couple top ads for your week 3 if you can go out and pick them up. They should be widely available in most of your leagues. Number 1 on my list is Kirk Cousins, who's owned in 17% of leagues. He went off for 250 and 2 touchdowns last week. And the next 3 games he plays is Philadelphia, the Giants, and Seattle. I probably would play him against the first 2 teams and think about sitting him against Seattle if he could. Although, don't forget, Philadelphia is ranked 23rd in giving up points to quarterbacks, so I love that a lot against that matchup. Ahmad Bradshaw, who's owned in 50% of leagues, he has gone off for 21 points versus Philadelphia versus Jacksonville, who gives up the second most points to running backs. I love this matchup, and I would feel safely about playing Ahmad Bradshaw on the running back spot if you're in a pinch. Next on my list of guys is Matt Estanza. He's backing up AP while he's dealing with his legal issues. He's only owned in 11% of leagues. He had 84 total yards and a touchdown against New England for 13 standard league points. Now, if you can rush out and pick this guy up, he's going to be a nice little plug and play. Against New Orleans, the Saints have given up 120 rushing yards in the last 2 games. I expect Estanza to have a pretty decent day against them going forward. Next on my list is Brian Quick, who's owned in 13% of leagues. He's gotten off for 173 yards this season already and 14 receptions. I love him versus Dallas, who gives up the most points to wide receivers going forward. So, especially in standard leagues, I'm not sure if I would play Brian Quick, but I would definitely want to own him. And James Jones, who's making it look like he's back in Green Bay, scoring touchdowns in his last 2 games, has 146 yards off 12 receptions already this season. And for your week 3 schedule going forward, your Thursday night game is Tampa Bay at Atlanta, San Diego at Buffalo, Tennessee at Cincinnati, Baltimore at Cleveland, Green Bay at Detroit. You have Indianapolis at Jacksonville. Jacksonville's given up the second most points to running backs. Keep an eye on that matchup. Minnesota, New Orleans. Oakland, New England. Houston at the Giants. You have Washington, Philadelphia. Dallas at St. Louis. Dallas has given up the most points to tight ends. I'm not a huge fan of St. Louis's tight end Cook, but this could be a nice little matchup play for him. San Francisco at Arizona. Kansas City at Miami. Denver at Seattle. Pittsburgh at Carolina. Chicago at the Jets is your Monday night game. The Jets give up the second most points to QBs and the first most points to wide receivers going forward. I love this matchup for Brandon Marshall and Alshon Jeffries, even though they're banged up. Guys, thank you so much for checking out my Week 3 videos. Hopefully, you can take a few seconds to follow me on Twitter at Dennis77Farrell. If you have a fantasy football question, you can shoot me an email. I'm always around and answering questions just like that. Dennis77Farrell at gmail.com. And if you have Facebook, I know everybody does, follow me on Facebook. Let's become Facebook friends. Dennis Farrell, Farrell. Shoot me a friend request. I'll accept it. We'll become fantasy football friends. And as always, Hail Hydra.